Hey guys, today we're going to go over what to do for my C students for your one-pager slide presentation. So for this one, we're going to start off with our title slide. Your title slide is the very first slide in your presentation. You're going to make sure that you list the title, it's spelled correctly, the font is legible, you have the author's name present on there, and the author's name is spelled correctly. Now remember, this is a short story, so you're going to put quotation marks around the title, The Last Dog. Then for slide number 2, you're going to put the genre and author's purpose. So on this one, you're going to put the genre, which is going to be either fiction or nonfiction. Remember, this is a fiction story. Anytime we have a fiction story, your author's purpose is going to be to entertain. So that should be pretty easy. You're going to have your subgenre as listed. That's going to be 1 point. And then you're going to have 2 or more sentence explanation of what makes the story fit into your specific genre. So what makes this story science fiction? Then you get 1 point for having correct spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Slide number 3 is going to be your internal conflict slide. So it says you're going to quote is going to be at least 1 complete sentence, which is 2 points. You're going to have a quote that is found anywhere in the story from 183 to 194. So a quote that's going to show internal conflict. So your quote is going to have to make sure it points out that the conflict is internal, and it's going to use correct parenthetical referencing. That means that you have a quotation marks before and after your quote, and you have correct parenthetical referencing, which is going to be author's last name, comma, page number, comma, paragraph number. The quote is written neatly or legibly, which means that I can read it on your page. You have at least a 2-sentence explanation of how the quote is an internal conflict and relates back to the theme of the story. You have proper grammar, capitalization, punctuation, and spelling. And the picture is used with an internal conflict. Now, this can be something, remember, you're on the internet, you can Google. Find a picture that you think goes with or makes me better understand your internal conflict. And then you have a 2 or more sentence explanation of how your picture is going to relate to that internal conflict. So, how does your picture bring it back to whatever your problem is that's happening within that character's mind? Then we have slide 4 is our external conflict. You're doing the same thing that you did for slide 3, but you're finding a conflict that's happening outside of the body. So this is going to be either man versus man, where 2 characters are fighting, character versus nature, where he's dealing with the elements, or character versus society, where he's breaking rules or laws. You're going to make sure you quote it. You have correct referencing. You're going to have a 2-sentence explanation of why it's an external conflict and how it goes back to the theme of the story. And then finally, you're going to have an illustration that goes with it. And you're going to have an explanation of how your illustration points out that this is an external conflict or ties back to your external conflict. Slide number 5 is going to be your summary of your literary work. So this is going to be a summary of the story. You're going to keep it objective, which means you're going to leave out personal opinions and not use words like I like, I believe, or I feel. You're going to start with a tag sentence, which is title, author, and genre. So you would say, in The Last Dog, Catherine Patterson, or in the science fiction story, The Last Dog, Catherine Patterson presents the idea that, and you would tell me what theme or life lesson you think she's trying to teach you, the reader, as you read. After that, you would not list, but in sentence form, tell me who the main characters are, what the problem is in the story, the major events that occur, everything that happens but do not give away the ending. You get points for using correct grammar, capitalization, punctuation, and spelling. You're also going to make sure you have a graphic or illustration that corresponds with your summary somewhere on your slide. Then you're going to have slide 6, which is your essential question. So you're going to type your essential question before you put your answer. You're going to make sure when you answer your essential question that you use RACE, which is restate, answer, cite, and explain. You're going to answer using appropriate spelling, punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure. You're going to make sure your opinion is defended with at least one piece of textual evidence from the story. In your textual evidence uses proper parenthetical referencing. Your textual evidence is quoted correctly, and your evidence is properly introduced use an introductory phrase like on page 197 it states, or Catherine Patterson says, something along those lines. Now, make sure that you have your essential question is, should we build a home in space? Then slide number 7 is a visual interpretation. So you must tie your reading together as a whole. This is 4 points. You need a 3 or more sentence explanation of how your picture illustration relates to the theme of The Last Dog. And you're going to make sure you use correct spelling, grammar, punctuation, and sentence structure, and it's labeled. So you're going to find a picture on the internet that you feel relates to the story The Last Dog and makes us better understand what's going on. Remember, they're in a dome in a desolate society, so that they think is uninhabitable. So any of that would work. Make sure you get, for slide 8, accountability, your name, date, and hour on the very last slide. That's 3 points for just putting your name, date, and hour on a slide. And then your work ethic. You have an appropriate amount of effort was put into your project. Background does not make images or writing hard to see. All fonts are legible, and all slides have a title that corresponds with the material on that slide. So, in other words, you're not going to have an external conflict on your internal conflict slide. So, everything you're going to do is going to be done via Google Slides. So, just a reminder, you'll go to your G Suite, you'll click on Slides, and then you would choose Blank Presentation. You would title your presentation up here where it says Untitled Presentation with your first initial, last name, and then The Last Dog Project. Now, you have several different options. One, you can choose one of these pre-made slide backgrounds. This one is pretty kind of futuristic looking. It might work well for you. You can also choose to upload a picture and insert that as your background. So like if you wanted to insert a background, insert. You can do image, text box, audio. So if I wanted to upload an image from my computer, I click there. I would go to all my pictures, and then I would choose from there. So from here, if I wanted to go to vocab pictures, I have one. Now remember, this is a desolate place somewhere. There's not a whole lot going on. I might choose, no, this is from a different story, but let's say I just use this one. And then that pops up like that. So that would be how you insert your picture. If you want to make it a background, you're going to go over here. You're going to right click and you would do apply layout, and that'll choose your slide layout. You can change your background. So this is going to let you choose just a solid color if you want, or you can choose an image from the computer. So again, I could browse my computer. I could choose an image. So this one is one of a forest. I'm just going to pick a random one and hit done. Now, the only problem is when you use background images like this that are pictures and they cover the whole background, it sometimes gets a little inky and hard to see your writing or your text. So see how it's kind of difficult to see what I've typed? So you might have to change your text color. Now, I hope all this helps. If you have any questions, please write them down. Let me know. I hope you guys have a great time do this. I can't wait to see what you guys create.